Yeah, let's get into the guy that you said this guy's going to win leagues. So make your case.
Yeah, so we move on to the running back position. And I do think we talked about how for a sleeper to qualify as a hit, it just has to be useful. But the real like home run winners, that grand slam, you're every week starting them, they're getting you 15 plus points a week. I think Jaydon Blue could be that for the Cowboys. I am so excited about him. He is my just overall favorite sleeper of 2025, and the guy that I'm going to just really stamp as if I had to pick one, like Bucky Irving for last year. If I had to pick one, it's Jaydon Blue for the Cowboys. You can just talk about the skill set first. He blazed a 4.38 40 at the combine, insane speed, and then followed that up with a 4.25 40 at his pro day, which I know pro days you take a little bit of a grain of salt, but he mentioned he had a little groin injury when he ran the 4.38, which would have been spectacular. You don't need to do better than that. And then he flashed even more speed. And it wasn't just time speed. You see it at Clemson where he ripped a 77-yard touchdown when they were facing Clemson, Texas over there. He had multiple other 30-plus yard scores. But in addition to that, he also runs through contact really well. 73% of his rush yards were after contact. That was number one in the class. 4.0 yards after contact per rush were fourth in this class. 3.4 yards per carry when hit at or behind the line of scrimmage. That was number one. So he makes things happen even when he's getting hit in the backfield. He ultimately only had 134 carries, but he took those for 730 yards, 5.4 pop, 8 touchdowns. And then also really thrives as a receiver. I mean, there's a clip that you should see, Truth, of him in Cowboys camp where he like leans back. It's true like Odell Beckham, like deep down the field, catches one-handed. He is a genuine receiver in terms of his route tree, in terms of his hands. He had a 25% target rate last year, number 2 in the class, and he ran in the slot 16% of the time, which was number 1. So he's got all the routes at his disposal. He hauled in 368 yards and another 6 TDs. So it's one of those guys where he's sure he was a little bit limited in college. He peaked out at right around 190 touches. And on those touches, he had 14 touchdowns. Every time the ball was in his hands, it was electric. So we got the playmaker, and now where does he land? Goes to the Cowboys, and they took him over guys like DJ Giddens, Ollie Gordon, these guys that you would think would be true feature backs that could shoulder all the workload. They said, no, we prefer Jaydon Blue, despite the rest of our depth chart being Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. I mean, could you ask for an easier depth chart to climb to the top of? It is pathetic. Both of those guys are 2 of the worst running backs in the league. They should not be starting for any NFL teams. And so all Blue has to do is show up and look decent, and he'll pop. Now, how has he shown up and looked? So far, we've got the quote. There was a quote at one point where he was, quote unquote, borderline lazy, and that's caused his price to drop.
Jeez.
And I don't think his price has recovered since then. And that was some random ex-Cowboys running back coach from like 30 years ago. And since then, all the quotes have so far been, I'll read you a few of these. Hard to ask for a much better first week of camp, making the play every single day of camp, effortlessly gets to his top speed. These are the beat writers. Then you ask the coach about him. And this is what head coach Brian Schottenheimer said: the speed, the dynamic playmaker, the dual threat guy. You can hand him the ball. He doesn't need a lot of space to make guys miss. His acceleration's uncanny. His ability to get to top speed is unique. He is such a talented young man. What I like is his professionalism, the way he's shown up for camp, kind of taking a jab at that lazy quote. He then says, he reminds me of a larger version of Darren Sproles, and I don't use that lightly.
Wow.
Which is, I knew you as soon as you heard the Darren Sproles.
Love a good Darren Sproles comp.
What else do you need? Meanwhile, when asked about Javonte Williams, he starts out with, and that's like already like your guttural reaction is like I don't even need to tell you much more about the quote, but he says experience and wisdom. I know he's not a real older player, but he's been through some things in the league, so you see a really good level of maturity with this guy. The most you really see that the most when he's helping his teammates. Yeah, okay. So we have larger Darren Sproles, an uncanny acceleration and insane top end speed from the coach, and then we have wisdom. I think I know which running back I want.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Also, I mean, as far as, he did say, not that he's one of the older players. Isn't Javonte Williams probably like 24 or something?
Yeah, exactly. He's not even that old. He's been in the league for like
I feel like he hasn't been around that long.
Exactly. So to me, it's just the perfect, like, if you win this bet, you're getting, I don't want to say it's a tough comparison to draw because you know how much I love Jahmyr Gibbs. And I know that this is not even close. Even if he hits at his highest level, Jaydon Blue is never going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. But we're talking about elite speed, elite receiving, and a very good offense, potentially a top 10 offense in this league. it is like a diet Jahmyr Gibbs if it hits all the way. And so far, it seems to be smashing, and his price really isn't going up at all. I imagine, he had a bruised heel, or a bruised heel, yeah. And that kind of sidelined him for a couple days. He didn't play in the first preseason game. Sounds like he's fully back over that and should be playing in week 2. I'll tell you, if he rips like a 50-yard touchdown out of nowhere, this guy's going to start going in round 8 or 9. So I'm loading the bags up in best ball as long as I can. And maybe that never happens and his price stays low. I think he's going to be just a potential elite playmaker, a very easy to ascend depth chart, and an offense that I think is going to be chasing points time and time again. I really love this Jaydon Blue kid. And if I had to pick one sleeper out of this whole list that I feel the best about, it would definitely be him.
All right. You've given me a lot to think about, honestly. I mean, I'm always looking for guys like that could carry the day. My big fear about somebody like that is you draft him, he doesn't play for 4 weeks or something like that.
Right.
You lose your nerve. Then he comes in and he's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Right when you cut him, he goes into he is a league winner at the stretch. So you might need some patience. He is a rookie.
Right.
He probably won't just be handed the job. But again, when Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders actually worries me a little bit more than Javonte because when he flashes, he actually looks okay. Javonte, as good as he was his rookie year, the tackle churner, he just has never looked the same. It's unfortunate because I really loved Javonte Williams as a player. Ever since the injury, though, he has been one of the least efficient backs by any metric you want to look at. Sanders hasn't been a ton better, but I could see if they really wanted a veteran to start the year, maybe Sanders is the one that – I don't even mind him as a last-round stab, to be honest. It's a backfield, these ambiguous backfields we talk about where everybody's cheap and somebody could emerge because the offense is good. Well, this is the perfect example of it. I'm just going to take the stab at the rookie that's extremely exciting.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I will probably get some Jaydon Blue stock before it's said and done. Now, this next guy on your list, you're going to have to – I'm in the dark. So completely I knew who Blue was. Obviously, I know who both the first 2 quarterbacks were and know a little bit about them. And honestly, this might be the only name on the list that I just didn't have any background knowledge on at all. So give it to me.
Bhayshul Rootin' Tuten, baby. Scootin'.
Oh, we talked about him. Rootin' Tuten.
Rootin' Tootin', baby.
Okay. All right. I do know a little bit about him. All right. Just for some reason, seeing the name in print, it didn't jump off the page to me. But as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I know exactly who he's talking about.
Exactly. He is – if it wasn't Jaydon Blue, if I had to stake my sleeper card on anybody else, Bhayshul Tuten would be the next one. A lot of similarities there between the two. So I guess there's a reason why I love them both. Another ambiguous backfield where all the backs are going after 90 or so in an offense that if Trevor Lawrence pans out, if Liam Cohen is the real deal with the Jags here, then I think this offense could take a big step forward. And I think he is, Bhayshul Tuten, the most exciting guy here. I'd never liked Travis Etienne. I've faded him nearly every year. It's burned me only once.
I know. One time we got burned.
Exactly. Tank Bigsby has been reportedly really good in camp, and he had a ton of good efficiency metrics. He's fine as an early down plotter, could probably be a good touchdown guy. He'll be involved. But ultimately, if somebody's going to truly smash out of this backfield, I think it's Bhayshul Tuten by a mile. He's the handpicked guy by Liam Cohen. And you look at some of the similarities where a lot of people are calling him maybe the next Bucky Irving. Well, that's exactly who Liam Cohen had last year. I know they're very different in terms of just first glance. Bucky Irving has that great patience and just such a natural with the ball in his hand as a runner. But what they both do so well is churn through contact. So career yards after contact per attempt, Bhayshul Tuten is in the 96th percentile. Career missed tackles first per touch, 98th percentile. And athleticism, that's the thing, is Bucky Irving was 92nd percentile after contact rate, 99th percentile missed tackle rate as well. So very similar in terms of what does Liam Cohen value? Clearly somebody that can churn through contact, make things happen even after they're hit. And so ultimately, Bhayshul Tuten is right up there in his tackle churning. But the difference between him and Bucky Irving is Bhayshul Tuten is an absolute freak athlete. He had a 9.55 RAS score, relative athletic score, due to his 4.32 40. He had a 40.5 vertical leap, which is just insane for a running back. Ultimately, 206 pounds isn't huge, but all of that combined was 9.55. Compared to Bucky Irving, which was a 2.3 RAS, we're talking 99th percentile for Bhayshul Tuten. We're talking bottom 20th percentile. And maybe you're like, okay, well, does this relative athletic score matter that much if Bucky Irving had a low one and look what he did? and I don't overvalue them. It's just a point of comparison that if this guy is an elite tackle churner, but also a freak athlete, and Liam Cohen is phenomenal at designing the space for these guys. I know you had Bucky Irving, you saw the screens, the wide open rushing lanes. There'd be times where Rashad White would get those, and you're like, if this was Bucky Irving, he's going to the house. And Rashad White's getting tackled at like the 3-yard line. That's how good this scheme is, though. The McVay-inspired zone running scheme. So you got those wide lanes, plus the screens. They marry the pass and run is what that whole offense is predicated on. And I think Bhayshul Tuten could really, really be solid. He does have a fumbling issue, and that could be a concern. He had 9 fumbles across his last 2 seasons of college. There was a report that, his first day of OTAs, he fumbled, and, Liam Cohen was pissed, but he said, we'll use this as a teaching moment. But ultimately, we're talking about a freak athlete in offense. I think takes it ascension with a play caller that uses his running backs very well. And in the first week of the preseason, Tuten was very impressive. 8 touches, 40 yards from scrimmage. He had this tackle churning touchdown where he was hit behind the line of scrimmage, probably 8 yards out from there, and he just continued to pound his way forward. He's a natural pass catcher as well. He had 2 catches for 16 yards in that game. So between the side, like not a huge guy, but the speed, the hands, the offensive system that is just great at generating space for its backs. I think Bhayshul, Root, and Tuten, he's going to be one you will need more pay. Like, whereas I could see Jaydon Blue potentially starting from week 1, I do think like Tank Bigsby or Travis Etienne, those guys will probably be starting the year. But I think by week 3, 4, you can have some patience. You can stash this guy on your bench. You're going to be getting an extremely explosive running back that goes nuts down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about freak athlete, and you talked about his vertical and how, that's really good for a running back. I mean, that's really good for an NBA player.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Insane. 40 and a half vertical. Like, it just like shows you, and yeah, sure, you're like, okay, well, why does that matter when a running back's not going to be leaping up? And okay, fine. But it just shows you like the explosiveness. It's kind of a way to measure just how much this guy can spring and fly,
Look, it might not have specific applications as a running back, but it sure doesn't hurt.
No, does not hurt at all.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's keep going down the list.
All right, the last running back sleeper. This is a bit deeper. This is more of a handcuff play for sure. I don't expect this guy to do anything if there's no injuries. I shouldn't say doesn't do anything. I think he could be so explosive that you might have to keep him on the field. That's Keaton Mitchell, who you can see the trend here. A lot of fast guys on teams that can really maximize the speed. Keaton Mitchell, as a rookie, led the entire NFL, 8.4 yards per carry, 47 carries to turn those into 396 yards and 2 touchdowns. And if you remember watching this kid, it was like between him and Devon Achane, they're trading blows as who is the most explosive rookie runner in this class, maybe in the entire NFL. And that translates to what he did in college. He led college football in 15-plus yard runs. He had a 7.2 collegiate yards per carry. He can catch the ball. He had 8.9% target share in college, 70th percentile for that. Unfortunately, he had a catastrophic knee injury his rookie year, just as he was getting cooking. And ultimately, he then it took him about a year, they're saying. Like last year just didn't really have that explosiveness, didn't really seem to be the same guy that he was his rookie season. That again, he had so this is a crazy stat. Actually, I want to reference that rookie season one last time. On only 47 carries, he trailed only Devon Achane and Breece Hall in 40-plus yard runs that season as well. So like 47 carries, he was the 3rd most 40-plus yard runs as a rookie that year. So he was going insane, and then lost it because of that injury. Didn't lost season last year, but then all the reports, okay, he's back, clocked at 22 miles per hour in practice, which is faster than he hit his rookie season. He said himself, I feel more explosive. The speed is back. And then all the reports in camp, Jim Harbaugh saying it looked like he had the speed and the ability to adjust. Last year, you could tell he was thinking about the knee, not really playing. But this spring, I haven't seen any of that. He's really out there. And so ultimately, all these reports are great. And then the preseason hits in his first action, 9 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. He had back-to-back 20-yard runs, including a 22-yard scamper. And it's just one of those things, like if something happened to Henry, you're getting this type of speed, this type of playmaking ability in the Ravens run game. That could be insane. And then you have like, that's the big out is Henry getting hurt. But what if like they do decide, okay, we don't need to overwork Henry this year. I don't think this is going to happen, by the way, but there is the chance that okay, Henry's so valuable to our playoff run. Maybe we take a little bit off his plate, and how better to do that than this explosive third-year back that's ripping 22 miles per hour? Like, let's rotate him in for 8 to 10 carries a game and see what he does. I know he's behind Henry. I know Justice Hill is also really solid. The team loves him. He's going to be their third down back most likely, but maybe Keaton Mitchell leaps him for the third down role at a certain point. And so there's a lot of paths to maybe this guy gets the field time. And once he gets on the field, I have no question about his ability. I have no questions about this offense. So very, very deep sleeper. He's probably not going to get drafted in your redraft leagues, but in best ball going right now in like round 17 and 18, he's a guy to definitely flag on your watch list at minimum in your redraft leagues, though.
You know how there are certain players, you don't know anything about them personally or anything like that, but there's just certain guys that just really make you angry. Justice Hill is one of those guys for me. Because he's not Derrick Henry, and now he's potentially blocking this guy from getting on the field as much as he could. He just really annoys me. He could be the nicest man in the world. I have no idea, but there's just certain guys that, you just can't stand seeing them out there. It's like They always seems like they're kind of vulturing and they're in when you don't feel like they should be. You have any guys like that?
I mean, Justice Hill is a pretty good one. Travis Etienne, like, why is he ever on the field? He stinks. So, I mean, there's certainly a bunch of them. Rashad White for Bucky Irving. Like, come on.
Oh, gosh.
Get out of here, Rashad White. Yeah, those guys are the absolute worst. Okay. Just slugs, just soaking up, like, volume that should be going to the far better player. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.